So your crossbow shoots out, hits him in the eye. The way the cat flung backwards, the helmet kind of slid down a little bit over the eye, so it deflects some of the damage. So it's not like right through the back of the head. It's more kind of the point pierces the eyeball itself. Blood starts to mat down his fur, but he is still snarling in much higher pitch, but still alive.
I said I'd shoot you in the eye. Are you going to play nice now?
Who did to go next? One of the cats or Sister Mutt?
Maybe you can finish this off, sister.
I would like to try this again. Try to persuade them to persuade this cat to perhaps not continue fighting us.
I will give you an advantage on this roll, because he has an arrow in his eye.
So, my friend, we'd like to continue our conversation with less violence. I can heal you, but you need to stop trying to attack us. Alright, so I rolled a 17, and then I have a 1 with my charisma, and then a 1 with persuade. So
19. The cat pushes himself off the ground and then puts his paws up and is like, all right, please get this thing out of my eye.
This won't be really pleasant, but I'll try my best to not make it worse. I will carefully remove the arrow and then use Cure Wounds.
First, let's do a wisdom roll using heal as a skill, if you have it.
I oddly don't have heal.
Well, that just means that you rely on your magic more than medical knowledge. So you're kind of just yanking the arrow out and hoping for the best.
All right. Well, the good news is I have wisdom +3, and I just rolled an 18.
So you flashback remember some classes from the church where they talk about eye injuries. And you go, oh, right, I remember that. Don't twist, don't shove. And you carefully extract the arrow, and then you cast Heal Wounds. I'm not going to have you worry about the spell cost, which is for narrative purposes, so you heal the cat back up to full. And now you have a slightly bloodied arrow in your hands. And the other two cats kind of rush over to you, and they both start talking over each other to give you as much information as you want.
Dramatic, but it worked. Hey!
I'll step over a little and say to Rex, he's lucky I missed.
That's all right. He might give you another chance.
So the two cats, the black-furred one and the orange-furred one, start talking, and they're like, but that was the thing, I didn't see any talk, but you think, and finally, shh. And so the three of you kind of lean in, and they want to answer any questions you have, but the gist you get out of what they're saying is that they haven't seen a dog around.
Well, why are you here camping? Highly suspicious.
We were told that we needed to stay here because we needed to do what was it that Max said? And the orange cat goes, something about bloods that we need to use to open the thing, and that the other cats were going to come back. Yeah, the other cats, they were going to come back here, and then we were going to find someone to kill so we could open the tower. Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm sorry, you want to kill someone? Who are you killing? That's not happening. That's cancelled.
I don't want to kill someone, but that's how we got to get in. No. There was something about Max was translating it, and they turn around, hey, Max, and then the white cat with white fur is gone. Just disappeared.
Son of a...
Well, anyway, Max was the one who translated the text around the come here, let me show you. Come here. And they take you over to the tower. Now that you're close to the tower's, again, weirdly thin. It's maybe 2 dogs wide. It's not, you don't see a door, there's no windows. It's just a weird slab of cylindrical rock that's dozens of stories tall. But they take you around the back of the campsite, and one of the black fur starts, who appears to be named as Sam, starts shoveling snow off of a section of ground. And it looks like there's a circle of black glass just set into the rock. And Sister Mutt, you could see around the edge that there are inscriptions in the ancient language of man. I need you to make an intelligence roll using no religion.
And then that is 13.
Between the fact that it's carved into black glass with of a gleaming sun and the snow kind of cover it, it's hard to get everything, all the nuances. But you do know that with a lot of the areas left behind by man, they would often use what are known as security incantations. Things that you have to say or do to grant you access to these ancient areas. And so you pretty quickly determine that this is probably one of those. It's pretty common to have some clue or riddle around the area to help remind man or to lead good dogs into where they're worthy to recover what has been lost by man. For what you can tell, all you can make out, though, is that it's something about the shedding of blood to enter.
I have a bloody arrow in my paws.
You do?
I think that the most reasonable course of action is to smear this blood on this piece of glass, and maybe it'll count.
I'm going to give you a fortune because that is a very clever plan to get around this. Because as you take the arrowhead and smear Max's blood on this solid plane of glass, it starts to give an almost bluish glow underneath, and you could feel a humming sound. Satrini, earlier I mentioned before that everything felt kind of weird and there was a kind of a high-pitched noise almost at the edge of your hearing. That just suddenly stops as soon as this thing glows, and there's almost a warmth that comes off of it. It's not warm like a campfire. It's warm like you spent this a little too long in the sun. It prickles at your skin.
Oh, sister, I think you're on the right track there. Good work. You see, cats, when you actually use your brains and think about things, stuff gets done. We didn't need to kill anyone.
Still could, though.
Yes, Rex, we still could. We still could. So behave yourselves.
You are watching the emotional roller coaster on their faces as this conversation goes on. Of like, we could, scary dog. Finally, one of them goes, so what now?
It said shedding of blood. I put blood on it. It's blue. Maybe we can try to open the door?
You don't actually see a door anywhere nearby this thing. You haven't searched around the whole circumference, but from what you're seeing right now, you don't see a door visible.
Where else was Max looking at this thing?
They both kind of shrug, and the one with black fur is like, I just told us to stay here and guard this thing. I mean, I'm going to be straight up. Max was the smart one. I am just here for the sword. I'm hungry. I want stuff. There's supposedly stuff in there. Max had a plan. I don't know what that plan was. He explained it to me once. I didn't follow it.
When earlier you said help was coming, how much help exactly and when?
The one with the orange fur goes, yeah, that may have been a kind of exaggeration. And the one with black fur goes, no, we lied. There's nobody coming.
Do I believe them?
Go ahead and make a wisdom roll. Do you have sense motive?
I do not, but let's see. 12. On wisdom, 12.
These cats seem too scared and too dim to be lying at this point.
Well, I don't know, Rex. Should we just let them go? I kind of feel they'll be in the way otherwise.
Well, I don't want them.
All right, then. We're going to let you go. Before you go, thank the sister for being so wonderful.
Thank you, sister. And they scarper.
All right, so I will poke at the glyphs some more to see if there's some sort of other trigger nearby. Otherwise, I don't. Unless the Sister Marion had something in her notes about it.
Do you want to check the notebook first, or do you want to touch the glass first?
Let's check the notebook first before I put my hand into like a magic trap. Seems like a good idea.
So you start to flip through the notebook, and you actually do see there's actually a sketch of this plate. Before, it just seemed like it was a circular design with inscriptions around the edge, so you didn't really, it looked more like an artistic flourish, like a lot of the things. And you're starting to realize that a lot of the stuff in this journal is working on two levels. Like, she was worried someone would uncover this information. But you do find that, and you do see references to shedding of blood, and there's a couple of notes, kind of like questions to herself, and again, they're references to different passages from the Word of Man, but reading through them, they basically boil down to, would man force us to take a life to prove we are good dogs? That doesn't make theological sense. However, the symbol of the Church of Man is a downward palm with a drop of blood in the middle. So perhaps man needs us to shed our blood to show fealty. And then from there, simply stepping through the glass should allow entry into the tower.
I have put the blood down. So now it's walking through a glass and hoping for the best.
You step into the glass. Gonna stop you there. The other two characters see Sister Mutt step onto the glass, and then she vanishes, and you hear a voice coming from nowhere that says, "Authorization accepted."
Aha!
Huh?
Sister? Hello?
Sister Buster, do you hear us?
No response.
That was unusual.
Well, we can't leave her in there alone. And I'm going to try and follow her through.
You step in.
Seeing myself suddenly alone and not wanting to be seen as someone who leaves their friends behind, I quickly just run through after Rex.
So you both kind of step on at the same time. All three of you feel almost like your bodies are being torn apart. There's no pain. It's more just strange, like if your arm could just be removed and put somewhere else. And that's what's happening. Different parts of you seem like they're just being dislocated, and they're still connected to you. You can still think, you can still breathe, but they're just not connected. And then suddenly they are again. And that's when the pain comes. It feels like you've been hit by a cart. Your whole body aches. But all three of you are standing together, almost simultaneously, inside of what looks to be the interior of the tower. And the interior of the tower is massive. It is covered in crumbling stone. There's strange yellow and red ivy climbing up the walls. There's a corridor with a small bridge in the middle of it, and there's actually a small trickle of water. You would think you can hear running water, but the smell of it smells more like some kind of acid or chemical. You can look up and you can see the sky, but whereas before the sun was bright and gleaming off the snow, now it's night, and there are stars in the sky, but they're not stars or constellations you're familiar with. In fact, one star is almost engorged. It's a strange reddish color, and you've never seen a kind of glowing red star in the sky before. As you look around, you see that there's basically one path forward again over that bridge to the main part of this cloister, cathedral, you can't quite tell. All along the passage, you do see there are these upright stone slabs that have a door on the front of each of them, and strange iconography carved into each door. It's the same iconography carved in every door, so it's repeated throughout, and they're alongside the passage, almost like it's guarding it. All of this is from where you're standing, and you have not moved at all.
Well, this is certainly bigger than I was expecting.
Yes, it's very large, and slightly confusing, and ever so slightly scary. Sister, what does man say about this? This is a tad unusual. What's that? I say, pointing at the big red star.
Would you like to make a no religion roll?
Yeah. Let's do that.
This is one of those where the more you roll, the more information I give, so there's no specific target number. As long as it's higher than 10, you'll get some information.
All right, so I just rolled an 18, and then I have wisdom of 3 plus 1 for no religion, so 22.
The ways of man are mysterious. We need to start from there. They had access to ancient magic that dogs are only just starting to now possibly begin to understand. There's obviously going to be even more magic that's beyond dog comprehension. There are stories of man creating spaces inside of other spaces, passages that allowed them to exist in multiple places simultaneously. So it could be that this place is not actually in the mountain, but perhaps somewhere else. Another possibility is that man has taken this place and put it inside the tower in some way. It's just such a powerful magic that you can't be certain one way or the other. You're a little more certain about the Red Star, but that's surprisingly not from your studies of the text of man, but rather the Church of Man occasionally brings in documentation from other cultures to try to compare it and see if perhaps there are seeds of truth hidden in the stories and legends of other people. And this is actually an ancient cat legend about a red star that would sometimes appear in the sky and would lead cats towards their ultimate fortune. But how cats interpreted fortune is very kind of 50-50. Sometimes their ultimate fortune is great riches or wealth or power, and sometimes their ultimate fortune is to be torn apart by strange creatures. So fortune is not always a desirable thing, but it's always interesting. So seeing a red star in the sky is an omen, but an omen of what is hard to tell.
So I share this information with wide-eyed wonderment. I don't think that makes him feel any better, but there it is.
Oh, so what do we do now? Go forwards, Rex?
I don't think there's any way to go back.
All right, well, I guess I'll get my crossbow ready and look out for any Oliphants, and I guess we onwards to adventure. I'm sure it's perfectly safe.
Absolutely 100% not safe, but that's okay. We are here. Let's go forward.
Stay behind me. You'll be a little less unsafe.
So Rex leads the way as you walk down the corridor. And as you step forwards, you notice that the stone you were standing on behind you, there actually is kind of a rough circular shape almost carved into the stone. So there may be a connection between the glass you stepped in earlier and this space in the tower. But as Rex pointed out, there's a wall behind that. There's no obvious door or exit. So you make the only way you can. And then you start to go over the bridge, and the smells off of the waters of the bridge are powerful. As dogs, obviously, you get a lot of information through your noses. And most of the information you're getting from this river is bad. It smells toxic. It smells fetid. It smells surprisingly sweet in a way. But the bridge is a pretty simple stone bridge. The width of the running liquids, for lack of a better term, isn't very far. If Rex stood on one end and fell over, he could probably touch his paws on the other end. So it's a little taller than Rex is. So it's not that wide. So you can easily just walk over the bridge if you wanted to.
Let's walk over the bridge. Everything could go wrong, but it'll be okay.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. But unrelated, if all of you can make a wisdom saving throw, difficulty 15. Satriani, because you have trap sense as a trick, you can roll this with advantage. It's not a trap, of course. It's just, just saying.
I have 14.
I have 15.
10. Have we got any fortune left over?
We have 2 left. That's why I was going to see how the rolls came out.
Do people mind if I just use just one more?
Yeah.
Do it.
Did you want to spend one as well, Rex?
No, hit me.
Oh, much better. That's a 17.
Rex starts to step over the bridge. And what Rex notices as he starts to step off the bridge is that his skin starts to tighten and dry, and your muscles feel like they ache and creak. You take 2 points of necrotic damage. The other two dogs, you see Rex step off, and because of his fur, it's hard to tell, but it almost looks like strands of his fur go from white to gray. Satriani, something buzzes in your head, and you kind of just push Sister Mutt off of the bridge, although she's already running off of the bridge. And as you skid to a halt, you feel like something's tingling on your skin, but you manage to shake your fur and shake it off. But you can see that it looks for a moment like Rex has aged maybe 10, 15 years. And then as you glance back at the bridge, you can see what looks like the three of you walking over that bridge. You see Rex step over and then stiffen, and then you see the other two of you stumble off of the bridge, and then it fades.
Oh, Rex. Rex, are you okay? Oh, my goodness. Are you all right? You look...
Oh, tired. I don't think I've ever been this tired.
It's all right. We're off the bridge. It was bad magic, sister. We should... Oh, no. Try not to come back that way, if we can.
As you step off the bridge, and Rex, as you're feeling your age, you're becoming extremely aware of these stone things standing along the passages, and because you're thinking about your own mortality, you immediately realize these are all crypts, these are all graves. They're standing upright along the sides of the passageway.
We're in a tomb. I don't mean to alarm you, but we are in a tomb.
Oh, why would she have come this way? We find her symbol soon.
No, this seems like a good time to cast protection from evil on everyone if we're dealing with crypts.
Why don't you go ahead and read out what that does?
Protection from evil. Until the spell ends, one willing character you touch is protected from the undead, the unseen, and creatures under the influence of the unseen. Any of those creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against the target, and the target cannot be charmed, scared, mesmerized, or possessed by them. If the target is already charmed, scared, mesmerized, or possessed by such a creature, the target can immediately take a new saving throw to end the effect. They receive advantage on this throw.
Okay, and that's a magnitude 1 spell, yes?
Yes.
So yeah, you could spend 1 spell slot to cast that, which means I think you have more than 1 spell slot. You could theoretically cast it as many times as you have spell slots on each of you if you would like.
Yeah, I think this is a good use of my spell slots. Let's cast this on everyone.
So you touch your nose, then touch each of your companions in turn, and then you touch yourself after touching your nose. And all of you feel a warm glow through your body as you realize the old ones are watching over you and protecting you. Do you continue forward?
Yes.
Yes.
You start to make your way forward, and you realize that this path doesn't alter or change. It's just one straight path going forward. And you walked into the space, you knew that it was larger than the tower, but it's now ludicrously larger because you're walking in a straight line. The circumference of that tower would have been maybe 1 or 2 steps. And you've walked dozens of steps now. So you just there's no turning back or whatever. As you're walking, perhaps inevitably, you do hear a creaking sound coming from behind you. And as you glance, you do see that some of the doors of the sarcophagi are opening. Because you were planning for undead, I'll go ahead and say that your team has initiative, so you can decide who goes first as 3 corpses start to pull out from their ancient crypts.
Well, perhaps I take a quick back step behind Rex and indicate that maybe Rex should go first with his wonderful sword.
I agree. I think this is a Rex.
Well, then, Rex, you can start.
Time to draw the great sword. And correct me if I'm wrong, guide, but these are the corpses of men, right? These aren't dogs.
Well, there are strangely twisted corpses. What man looks like is a subject for some debates. Dogs have a general idea of what they look like, but how tall they were, what their features were, because most of what they found of man is either horribly destroyed or skeletons. But these creatures only have kind of patches of fur on their skin. They don't have long snouts like you do, and their paws are kind of deformed into almost like grasping claws. So they don't look like dogs, but they also don't look like any even descriptions of humanity that you've seen.
Well, they look like they need to die before they get past me and too close to my friends. So, first one close to me is getting cut in half.
They're very easy to hit, difficulty 10.
Yep, that's it. It's fine as damage goes. 6 points.
So you bring your sword down, and the placement of the stone caskets means you can't get as full of a swing as you would like, but you do a heavy chop into the shoulder of the one in front, and as you pull your blade back, it's not covered in blood, but rather it's covered in almost like a rust-colored powder, like maybe the blood turned into dust or something like that. It is still moving forward, but it does not look like it is going to hang together much longer. So who would you like to go next?
I'm gonna let it take its turn next.
Okay. It reaches forward and it's muttering something in a language you don't quite understand as it just tries to bludgeon you with a heavy fist and rolls a 1. So that is what we call a botch, which means that it starts to reach forward and it starts to grab at your armor, and it actually, as it touches your fur, the spell that Sister Mutt cast on you actually flares up and its hand bursts into flames, and it lands on its knees and it starts screaming in this weird guttural language that you can't recognize. It has dispatched itself.
Excellent work, sister.
It is going to choose its friends to go next because it is not a bright creature. And the second one is going to go forward and try the exact same thing because that will work wonderfully. This is a 15. Does that meet or exceed?
It does not.
Okay, so it just slams its hand on your armor and doesn't even get through. Doesn't seem particularly tactical in that regard. The third one behind it is going to try to get around and push past you, which means it's going to make a strength roll to try to push past you. So you need to make a strength roll to beat its roll of 12.
That's a 9.
You do have 1 fortune left if you want to use it. Otherwise, we can let the zombie squeeze past you.
What do you think, folks?
I'd say yes, but I don't know. We might want it later, though.
That's what I think. I think there's worse coming than this.
I agree. I think we can let a zombie sneak past.
Yeah.
Just one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you're pulling your sword back and the second zombie's trying to attack on you, you're so focused on these two, the third one actually kind of just shoves you slightly. You just stumble for a second. You're knocked over. But it does manage to push past you and reach out towards Sister Mutt, but it's not fast enough to actually reach her yet. And I will choose Sister Mutt to go next.
It is time to smack a zombie with a mace, because that is the most reasonable course of action at this point.
Perfect logical choice.
She does have simple weapon aptitude.
Okay, so that allows you to add a +1 to your roll.
All right, 15.
That is more than enough to hit. And it's the one that's reaching out for you, I assume?
Yes.
Go ahead and roll your damage.
1d6 minus 1, so 2.
So you swing your heavy mace around and you get a solid crack in the side of its chest. Maybe some ribs broken there, but it doesn't seem particularly fazed by it.
Up to you now. Good luck.
I see the sister under attack, and I quickly ready my crossbow and fire.
I'm assuming you're going to take a step back to give yourself a chance to get to a good range.
Indeed, although sadly, it's just a 9. I take a step back, fire, and miss.
The arrow slings off into the darkness, going who knows where. You don't even hear it land on the ground. That's a little odd. But it is the start of the next turn. You can choose anyone to go next, including yourself.
I will try and make up for that miss by reloading quickly and firing again as I choose myself to go first.
Go ahead and roll again.
10?
That is enough.
8 damage.
The Papillon crossbow apparently loves eyes. Because once again, it just goes right through the eye of the zombie, and it falls to the ground with a sickening thud.
Oh, see, just a case of getting the aim right, slightly off there, slightly off, and I will then look to Rex, who I believe should go next.
I'm going to finish off that one full dead man who's dumb enough to stand close to me. Yeah, that's a 21. That's 9 points of damage.
Your sword goes through with almost a squelching sound. And you pull it back, and the creature looks shocked and staring down at its chest, but it's not falling down.
Sister Buster's turn, I think.
Yes. Or you can have the one corpse go.
No, I'm pretty sure Sister Buster's going to finish it off for me.
Fair enough. You have faith in your companion.
So we're going to smack it again, and with a 13.
That hits.
And hopefully I can do more than... Oh! That is a 6. So that is 5.
So this time you're a little more confident in your swing. You go right for the heads and you spin its head around, literally. You can hear the vertebrae crack as the head jolts to the side and it crumbles to the ground. As a note, it was a good thing you cast the spell you did, because disadvantage to attack really helped there. None of the other crypts seem to be opening. Do you want to investigate the corpses? Do you want to get away from the creepy dead things?
I am absolutely going to regret this, but I kind of want to look in one of the crypts.
I want to investigate too, because no good things can come of this. But we're here, so let's dig.
Exactly. We're not going to get this chance again.
We're not going to do anything like roll on the dead bodies. We just want to poke at it a little bit.
Fair enough.
You see me about to suggest maybe we should move on quickly, and then see the other two just do the opposite of that. Go, I suppose we could investigate the beasts. Wonderful. Okay.
So I'm actually going to give you a fortune for doing the thing you should never do in horror films. So Rex, with his amazing strength, can just kind of grip his paws around the edge of the door and kind of pull one open. Is that what you're thinking about doing?
Yes, please.
All right. It does take both paws, so you're not going to be able to hold your sword while you do it. Is that okay?
Yep.
So your mighty thews stretch and strain as you pull aside the door, and you hear the grinding of stone. And you look inside and you see mostly bone dust and some old tattered clothing, maybe a rusted sword. You look to another one and you realize that one is more of a body there, but like one of the legs have fallen off and it kind of is now slumped along the side of the crypt it was in. So you're suspecting that the reason why only these 3 came out is because they're the only ones that were actually capable of movement. This is a very, very old place. Do you want to examine the bodies, or you want to just move on?
I would like to examine the bodies.
They have a smell to them, although it's not putrefying flesh or anything like that. You're, as a shepherd of the Church of Man, you have been around the ill, you've been around death. It's not comfortable, but you are familiar with the smells of death. And this isn't that. It's more like dust and old leather. They smell more like things than people. And when you look at what they're garbed in. The clothing is threadbare, eaten away by ancient insects or just time. But you do notice there's a small emblem on one of the patches of clothing. And it looks familiar to something you saw in the journal, so you flip to that page real quick. And you do see notes about the symbol. It's a circle, and there are runes or symbols around the edge of the circle, and there are two lines, one longer than the other, pointing to each of the symbols. One's pointing to the symbol at the top, one's pointing to the symbol along to the right of it. And you see the symbol in both the journal and the clothing. And according to the notes, it has something to do with seasons or just the passage of time, but it's not quite making sense as to what this symbol's actually supposed to represent.
Since it's on a piece of clothing, I will just take it with me.
Yeah, you can easily, I mean, it's you could rip the clothing apart with your paws very easily, so you can kind of just rip it out and tear around it, and then you have this slightly moldering patch. I mean, you have to like put it in a pouch or something to make sure you don't accidentally tear it apart with you just handling it. It's pretty brittle, but you can take it off.
Yeah, well, I'll take it with me, so I can ponder it carefully in hopefully a better environment than Undead Crypt.
Well, sister, what does it all mean? What are these strange, fell beasts?
Still working that out.
Oh, right. Well, I guess we'll move on, and they weren't too bad, so if we see any more, we'll just shoot them again.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Quite right.
All right, Rex, you good to lead on again? I perhaps I suggest that we hurry up a little. I don't want there to be too many more of these things.
Oh, I don't think there are any more coming. I think the others might be dust.
Oh. Well, bully for them.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played Tower of the Oliphant for Onyx Path Publishing's Realms of Pugmire. You will find the new edition of Realms of Pugmire live on Kickstarter by following the link in the show notes. Joining Craig for the series was Eddy Webb, Kat Evans, and Kim Godwin. The music was made by Ager Sonis and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We'd like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon: Martin Heuschober, Nastasia, Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Julián, Cameron, Xabier, and Antxon for their generous support. And we'd of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember to always be a good dog.